Hello there. Last night I went to see the raunchy dog comedy Strays, and now I want to tell you about it. Written by Dan Ferrell and directed by Josh Greenbaum, this mature comedy follows Reggie, an abused dog with some new friends, who sets off on a journey to get revenge on his abusive owner. While it does say comedy on the box, this movie isn't for the young or the faint of heart. It features every type of adult humor known to man, non-stop cursing, images of dogs' penises, implied violence, and images of implied animal abuse. It should have been clear from the trailers that this movie isn't for kids, but if it wasn't, let me warn you again. This is not a kids' film, even if it is about talking dogs. The story starts off by introducing us to Reggie and telling us about his life with Doug. Doug is an abusive owner who kept Reggie to get back at his ex, and who now tries to abandon Reggie every chance he gets. He even goes as far as driving him further and further from home in the hope that Reggie won't be able to find his way back. When he finally snaps and drives Reggie several hours away, Reggie finds himself in an unfamiliar place surrounded by terrifying sights and sounds. He even gets into a bad situation, but ends up being saved by Bug, a chihuahua with a huge bark. Bug and his friends Hunter and Maggie hang out with Reggie and help him see that his relationship with Doug is a toxic one, and it leads Reggie to a moment of realization. He feels the need to return to Doug, give him a piece of his mind, and also bite off his dick. The four dogs then set off on a journey of self-discovery and growth that leads to a lot of hilarious scenarios. Some great dog jokes, some terrible dog jokes, and a random cameo from Dennis Quaid that had me dying. The story is logically consistent across the board, even if it is based on a fantastical premise. Talking dogs is the big draw, but the dogs aren't actually talking here. They just understand each other and we're seeing things from their perspective. The film does get a little silly with how smart all of the dogs are, and it doesn't do a good job of tracking the timing or length of the journey, but it's full of good emotions, funny jokes, and it even has a little bit of action now and again. It's highly entertaining and does a good job of keeping the audience engaged. The characters and their stories are a bit cliche, but the film does them well. Reggie's story is one of abuse and growth. Some of the initial humor comes from how skewed his perspective is, but the film does a good job of pointing out how messed up his treatment was, and the other characters act as a solid, albeit immature, support system for him. Reggie grows a lot on his journey and ends up finding happiness in unlikely places. The other characters each get a short character arc. One gets a cowardly lion story, another is an objectified woman getting her time to shine, and the last one is a mistreated character learning to love again. They're blink and you'll miss it levels of short, but there are some sweet moments in there for each of them. The humor is all dog jokes. There are jokes about hating the mailman, humping furniture, and how humans collect poop. It does get a bit repetitive at times, but they did a good job of introducing a fresh supply of new jokes whenever they got the chance. They would introduce a new breed of dog and play on that, or introduce a new scenario from a dog's perspective. Most of the cast are dogs voiced by humans, and a few human actors as tertiary characters. Will Forte is the only real human character in the film, and he plays Doug the Dick. He does a great job of being an unlikable character, but that's all he does. He also isn't in most of the film, just a bit at the beginning and a bit near the end. The main dog characters were voiced by Will Ferrell for Reggie, Jamie Foxx for Bug, Isla Fisher for Maggie, and Randall Park for Hunter. The four of them do a good job of the emotions, but most of the film is just them telling jokes and having basic conversations. Jamie Foxx and Will Ferrell get to do a decent monologue here and there, but nothing that really stood out and caught your attention. The entire cast is funny, but there aren't any standout performances here. Visually, this film is kinda hard to rate. The shots are mostly of dogs walking around different areas, and they managed to get them to do some actions on camera like jump up on different objects, chase after certain things, and mouth at and play with some of them. They did a decent job of animating their mouths to look like they're talking, but the visuals on screen aren't that impressive. The journey itself uses a lot of editing to imply certain things are happening when they couldn't get a shot of the dogs doing it. It is shot from the perspective of a dog, which was kind of interesting, and then there was a lot of good visual humor. It does have a few standout moments visually, but they stand out for how clever the joke was or how creative they got with the editing. Sound-wise, the film has an incredibly diverse soundtrack with pop songs from all over the last 20 years in different genres, and it uses them in an impactful way. Sometimes there are even jokes laden into the music choices. For example, at one point the dogs decide they need to poop on the floor in order to proceed, and when Fergie's London Bridge started playing, I roared out laughing. It was perfect timing. This is how most of the music in the film is used. It comes in at the perfect moment, hits the exact vibe they want to get at, and enhances the scenery without distracting from it. The lyrics are often relevant to what's going on, and it makes for some hilarious moments. The music makes a huge impact and has a lasting impression. Overall, Strays was a somewhat limited film that tells a funny story, with a good bit of heart at the center of it. It made good use of the dogs, got a lot of laughs, and it ended in a highly entertaining way. The acting could have been better, but there's only so much you can do when you're voicing a dog. If you like raunchy comedies and you like dogs, then give this a shot. It's hilarious. As for a rating, I'd give this film a 7 out of 10. And remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Bye-bye.